Howdy folks, welcome to Plague Inc. with the mighty Jingles. Today I'm going to be showing you how I finally beat the game using the zombie plague, the Necrovirus. I had a lot of requests to show this. I finally got it done. There are going to be a couple of prerequisites. You're going to want to modify the genetic code of your virus at the start of the game using the following two genetic markers. Catalytic switch, which allows you to get DNA from popping research bubbles, and you must have the creationist gene. This reduces the chance that your virus will mutate and develop symptoms that you don't want it to. I cannot stress enough how vital the creationist gene is for getting a successful Necroa plague to wipe out all of humanity. If you don't have the creationist gene unlocked, then don't bother trying to win the game with the Necroa virus. Just keep playing through using your viruses, your Neurax worms, your parasites and your bacterias until you get that unlock. And my apologies, India, I am picking on you again. It's your own fault for having a 1.3 billion people population, crappy healthcare, and a central location with airports and shipping lanes to Southeast Asia, and all those juicy little island nations that can't be infected by anything other than ship transmission. Oh, that's bad news. Okay, so we're not going to bother investing in transmission vectors that affect urban environments, since urban population density has just fallen. Oh, and a little dig at Valve software there. Some of these news pop-ups are quite funny. Alright, we've got some DNA points and we need to get this thing to spread, so we're looking at the transmission vectors. We are never going to touch zoonotic shift. This will make it more infectious, but it'll increase the chance it mutates, and once the disease is identified, it'll make it easier to research. Instead, we're going to go for saliva. That gives us a nice little boost to our infectivity, and more importantly, it leads directly to waterborne transmission. We need to get this thing out and across the world via the shipping lanes, because there are a number of countries on the planet that can only be accessed via the shipping lanes. Greenland is a right bastard for trying to infect, but there's all these Southeast Asian and Australasian island nations that only have access via the sea as well. We're accumulating DNA points. We're up to 16, 17, right, we'll go for it. Okay, so we could go for, no, saliva 2. Saliva 2 because it leads straight to water 1. And we want that. Now we only have 4 DNA points left, but we are infecting at quite a rapid rate. We're up to 11 again. Because the Necroa virus is a virus, it costs you DNA points to devolve it. When these random symptoms pop up from mutations, it's going to cost DNA points to get rid of those symptoms so that the disease doesn't get noticed. That's the primary reason why you need the creationist gene for this. If, despite the fact that you've used the creationist gene, you get 2 or more random mutations while you're still waiting for the right moment to unleash the really nasty side of this disease, abandon the game, start again. You are really going to start struggling for DNA points when this thing takes hold. But that, of course, is why we've gone for the catalytic switch, gaining bonus DNA points from exploiting popping those cure bubbles once the disease does get noticed. You'll see why that's important later on when we reach that stage. For now, we're just spreading away merrily. We've got a couple of million people in India infected. It's starting to spread out around the world. Oh, we've reached China. Okay, we're starting to come within access range of countries that have advanced healthcare plans. So, from abilities, I'm going to go for drug resistance. Now, this is going to help us take root in countries that have good healthcare. It's going to make us resistant to class 1 and 2 antivirals. You know, so I'm always keeping at least 7 DNA points in reserve, just to jump on any symptoms that randomly mutate and pop up. The reason it's so important with the Necroa virus, it's important with any virus, because viruses love to mutate. With the Necroa virus, the second the disease gets identified, the game throws in a sort of a red herring, and doctors suspect that the disease could cause tumours, so they immediately begin working on a cure. Now with other viruses, if you have relatively minor symptoms, you can stay under the radar for a bit longer before a cure starts being worked on. Not with this thing. So you do not want it to develop any symptoms whatsoever until you're ready for it. We're just going to boost the infectivity from blood transmission. Still got 7 DNA points in reserve in case this thing mutates a symptom. India is completely infected. I could have gone with waterborne transmission 2 there, and I'm going to need that. I will get it at some point, but that costs too much. That would have left me with less than the 7 DNA points that I need if a random mutation pops up. So I can jump all over that symptom, kill it, and stop this thing from being noticed. You do end up playing a waiting game when you're using the Necrovirus, if you're using this strategy. It is going to take you a long time for this thing to get to the stage where you're ready to go public with what the Necrovirus does. 14 DNA points. Eurogenital expansion would be nice, but it costs too much. It's going to leave me with less than 7 in the bank. So I'm just going to wait. Infect some more countries. And no, not yet. It's going to cost me 12. I have 17. I'm going to wait until I have 19, and then I'll get urogenital expansion. This is going to pass the disease on in urine and feces. Thanks to the creationist gene, no random mutations have popped up yet. But better safe than sorry. Keep those 7 DNA points in the bank. It's starting to spread nicely. All over Africa. We've made it into Russia. We're going to start infecting those cold countries soon, so I'm going to need to look into boosting the disease's resistance to cold environments. We've just reached the USA, Spain, looks like Canada as well. Right, 19 DNA points. We're going to give it cold resistance, I think. It's only going to cost, yeah, no problem. We've still got 14, 15, 16... Oh, we've reached Madagascar. Fantastic. Madagascar is very hard to infect. We've reached Iceland. Perfect. It's relatively easy to infect Greenland from Iceland. They share shipping routes. And, crap. Hypersalivation. Jump in, get rid of that symptom right now. That's why you keep the 7 DNA points in the bank at all times. That's going to hurt us later on. You really, really do struggle for DNA points later on in the game, unless you have the catalytic switch genetic marker embedded into your disease at the beginning of the game. And we do. We're building up a nice stock of DNA points, ready to pop some more transmission vectors in there. We're starting to infect the cold countries, so picking cold resistance early on was a good idea. Since we've reached the USA and Canada, cold resistance, yeah. We've reached Iceland, and we're starting to infect the Scandinavian countries. These countries are very, very difficult to get your disease to spread because the population is spread out all over the place and they're cold environments. They also tend to have very good healthcare. So we'll go for cold resistance too, to boost the chance of the disease taking root in those kind of countries. And of course it helps the thing take root in Greenland when we do eventually infect Greenland. Disease is spreading very nicely. It's taking root in Canada. Again, it tends to spread kind of slowly in countries like Canada because of widely dispersed population. We've done 64% of the world's population, and it's always the same old countries. Scandinavia, the Baltic states, Canada and Greenland. They're always the last ones to get infected. And it's because they have widely dispersed populations, decent healthcare, and a cold climate. Now that we've made it into Poland, 4.8 billion of the world's population now have the disease. We've made it into the Caribbean. Yep, same old, same old. We're in Norway. We haven't infected Sweden or Finland. The Baltic states, and I think the Ukraine and Greenland are the only ones left. You really do have to be patient when you're playing with the Necrovirus. and not spend those DNA points unless you absolutely have to. Not just because you need to save 7 to devolve any random symptoms that pop up, but also because when you're ready to trigger this disease into its second and much more deadly phase, you are going to need a metric shit ton of DNA points in the bank to get this thing up and running as quickly as possible. Right now we're just waiting. There goes Finland, just Sweden and Greenland left. We're just waiting for this disease to get a foothold in every country in the world. And when that happens, there's Greenland. Fantastic. My apologies to Greenland. It's nothing personal. Just Sweden to go. Yep. Just waiting for Sweden. Once we get this disease into every country in the world, we're going to do, and there's Sweden. Right, the disease is global. And now we're going to do nothing. We're going to sit and we're going to wait and we're going to save those DNA points. We've got 39 at the moment. It's not enough. 39 is not even close to being enough DNA points to start triggering the next phase of this virus. So all you're doing now is you're sitting and you're waiting. You're popping those orange DNA bubbles, which right now are your only source of DNA income. You can't infect any new countries. The disease is already global. Remember, you're going to need a minimum of 60 to 65 DNA points in the bank before you can even consider triggering the zombie phase of this plague. Between now and then, your only two sources of fresh DNA income is from the random orange DNA bubbles that pop up, and also from popping the cure bubbles. At the moment, there are no research bubbles. Nobody's working on a cure. Nobody's even noticed this disease exists. So far, it has no symptoms. So you're going to spend the next couple of minutes waiting. And one of two things is going to happen. You're going to get enough of these orange DNA bubbles popping up that will give you enough DNA points to trigger the next phase yourself. Or you're going to get a random genetic mutation, which is going to give you a free symptom. And if that happens, let it ride. All the time that you're sitting around waiting for one of those two things to happen, this disease is spreading through these cold, widely dispersed population countries. It's taking root in Canada. It's taking root in Greenland. It's taken root quite nicely in Norway. Finland and Sweden, not so much. It's spread throughout all of the Ukraine and all of Central Europe. So hold your horses, sit back, don't do anything, and just wait for things to take their natural course. Once they start researching the cure, that's where your next major source of DNA is going to come from. So at this point, rarely for a virus, you are actually hoping that it's going to develop a mutation and somebody's going to notice it. This is actually going to play into your own hands at this point, because that's going to give you a free symptom to get the next phase going that you don't have to spend DNA points on. It's going to start triggering research into curing the disease that is going to earn you DNA points to get that DNA total in the bank up to a good high number, so that when you are ready to make this thing go nasty, you can make it go really nasty really quickly. The last healthy people on the planet live in Sweden, and they're going to get infected very, very soon. Any second now. Bingo. There it is. There are now no healthy people left in the world. Everybody in the world has the Pax14 necrovirus. And now, you keep waiting. You're waiting for either those orange DNA bubbles to pop up and give you enough DNA points to take this disease to the next level, or for luck to play a part, and you get a random genetic mutation. Now, it's given us hypersalivation, which isn't ideal. 50-50 chance we were going to get the one that we wanted, but it's a symptom. It's gotten the disease noticed. It's a minor symptom, so nobody is spending an awful lot of money in researching a cure. But any second now, we're going to start getting research teams flying around the world and giving us those blue research bottles that we can pop to get more DNA points, because that's the genetic marker that we chose for the disease right at the beginning of the game. And that's why this is vitally important. Now, the effort that is being focused on researching a cure you can use against them. Very soon we're going to start seeing these blue planes start flying around the globe as research teams try to coordinate efforts to find a cure for this disease. We're now on the World Health Organization watch list. There it is. France is leading the global cure effort. Right, now we just pop these bubbles. Come on, France. You can do it. Research on the cure is at 11%. Here we go. We now have 64 DNA points. Using the cure research against them. Once research into the cure reaches around 30%, at that point you're going to have to go with however many DNA points you have in the bank and trigger the next phase. France is leading the research. Everybody in France is infected, obviously. There we go, 76 DNA points. Come on, give me more. Come on, France. Send those doctors out. Do it. Do it. What are you waiting for? Come on. I'm over here. Oh wait, that's Austria. There we go. Fly to Toronto. See what good it'll do you. 83 DNA points. Fantastic. All that bonus DNA from popping these bubbles. Oh, the iCure device has been announced by Applesoft. The handheld plague cure. Yeah, right. Apple cashing in. Oh, that was bad news. That's going to speed progress on finding a cure. But look at that. 91, 94, 99 DNA points in the bank. Research is at 29%, 30%. Pause the game there. Right, we're now ready to take this thing into the next phase. We have 99 DNA points in the bank. That's fantastic. Now, we got hypersalivation as a free mutation. Hypersalivation is a bit crap. It leads to polyphagia. All these do is increase infection rates. The entire planet's infected anyway. Instead, we're going to go for insomnia. Going down the insomnia line for your symptoms is good because insomnia slows the future research speed into the cure. Insomnia leads to fever, which also slows down future research speed. Fever leads to photophobia, which increases the amount of research that's needed to find a cure. From photophobia you could go into coma, but that's taken us away from where we want to go. Instead of going into coma, instead we're going to go into delirium, which also significantly slows future research speed. More importantly, it leads to the good stuff. From here we could go to psychosis, by the way, which is nice, and we're going to want that at some point. This basically turns this disease into the rage virus from 28 days later. People who are infected then start killing people. But this is the big one, cytopathic reanimation. Now people who die from the disease are going to come back as zombies. But we still want people to die from the disease, so we need to make the disease lethal. So we're going to go for anaerobic resuscitation. That significantly increases the lethality of the disease. But it's the zombies that are going to be the major killer. What we want to do now is look at our abilities. And these are the ones that you want to go for. Autolytic delay, because that's going to slow down the decomposition process of the corpses. You want the corpses to remain usable as zombies for longer. And regenerative activation. Ambush predation and liquefactive necrosis. These are going to make the zombies deadly killers. Regenerative biosynthesis. Again, this is going to keep the corpses fresh for longer. As corpses decay, and it's going to be a significant problem in hot environments, they're going to be unusable as zombies. They're going to decay naturally as well, so the zombies have a limited lifespan, if you like, before they just rot and fall apart. And that's why it's important that you invest in abilities that keep the zombies usable for longer. You also need to make the zombies effective killers. Because as this plague starts to kick off, an organisation known as ZCOM is going to start fortifying countries and arming the population in an effort to fight back and directly kill the zombies. And of course, now that the dead are coming back to life and eating their friends and neighbours, people are understandably anxious to get a cure for this disease, so research kicks into high gear. But we've spent all these points on symptoms that slow down the rate of research. So we're getting more and more and more of these planes appearing, and because we went for the catalytic switch genetic marker as part of a virus right at the beginning of the game, popping those research bubbles is directly feeding our ability to make this disease and the zombies that it's creating more and more dangerous. And thanks to the symptoms line that we've chosen, the actual research into the cure is slowing down and down and down. It's a win-win situation. The more they try to fight the disease, the more DNA points we're accumulating. That's just going to make this disease more and more dangerous. So the world population of zombies is... Ah, there we go. ZCOM has been activated in those pesky Norwegians. Now, you're going to see the zombie population in Norway is going to start to take a nosedive. Up till now, you've had it all your own way. The world is trying to fight off the zombies and the disease that's killing people and turning them into zombies. ZCOM is now mounting a defence directly against the zombies. It's arming the population. It's fortifying population centres. And it's going out there and killing zombies directly. So what are we going to do about that? Well, people are still dying from the disease. So I want to try to keep these corpses fresh for as long as possible. But I'm also going to go for the horde instinct. This is going to allow zombies to band together in big groups and cross national borders looking for fresh victims to kill. We've now got two active abilities that both cost 4 DNA points to use. We've got reanimation. This basically turns ordinary dead people into zombies, and that's why we've put so many points into making sure that those corpses stay fresh and usable as zombies. Horde, the other ability, well, we're not going to use that just yet, because without more DNA points the hordes are only a couple of hundred zombies. But we're going to get more DNA points fast. And not just because we're popping those research bubbles. There we go, enough for horde mentality, which is increasing the size of zombie hordes into the thousands. And there it is. A zombie icon just popped up because everybody in Central Asia is now dead. They're either zombies or they're just corpses, and that is our next major source of DNA points as countries start dying. We're getting more DNA for that. This allows us to take horde vocalization, which puts the size of zombie hordes into the hundreds of thousands, but that's still not enough. Keep popping those research bubbles, keep harvesting those country death markers. 27, bingo, there it is, horde pheromones. Zombie hordes can now be in the millions, and this is how we're going to crush that pesky Norway with its fortified ZCOM bases. Directly reanimating the dead in Norway is a bit of a no-go. There's only 300,000 of them. There's 6 million zombies in next door Sweden, however. And 2 million dead, so that's a large source of potential, well, active zombies and potential zombies that we can use to send over the border into Norway and crush those pesky ZCOM types. Only 300,000 dead in Norway itself, so reanimating the dead in Norway it's not really going to have much effect. What instead we're going to do is we're going to go into Sweden and we're going to send a horde of zombies from Sweden into Norway. Off you go, start the game up again, and there you go, 2 million zombies just arrived in Norway. Yeah, chew on that one, ZCOM. And more DNA points. And yeah, Sweden just died. The last infected person succumbed. They're dropping like flies all over the world. They're still trying to work on a cure, but look at how progress in the cure has slowed down. And that's not because of anything we've done directly, that's just because there's hardly anybody left alive in any of these countries to work on a cure. What can we do now to make things even worse? Symptoms. Enhanced motor control is going to make the zombies faster. Masticatory tension, that's going to allow them to bite through clothing. Lumbrical hypertrophy. Oh yes, definitely, we're going to go for all of this. This is going to make these zombies absolutely lethal. Looks like France has just died. Yeah, there's hardly anybody left alive on the planet. 10% of the population is left alive. They're all infected. They're all dying from the disease, or they're getting eaten by the zombies. This game's over. ZCOM hasn't managed to spread to any other countries. Norway is the only centre of organised resistance. Let's send another horde. Whoops, where are we? There we go. Another horde from Sweden. There's another million zombies in Norway. Don't mention it, Norway. It was nothing. You're welcome. What else could we do? Adrenal surge? That's going to make the zombies even more aggressive. Oh, Norway doesn't stand a chance. They're still trying to research a cure. Good luck with that. Countries are dropping like dominoes. Is there anything I can do with 14? Oh no, we got more. We got more. The USA has been destroyed. Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. There's only 5% of the world left alive and they're all infected and dying. I'm so bad. Goodbye, Greenland. Oh, Norway. Let's make things even worse for the few survivors in Norway. Hyperosmia is going to make the zombies even better at detecting fresh prey by amplifying their sense of smell. So good luck hiding. You can run, but you can't hide. And France is still trying. Still trying to come up with a cure. Bless them. Who's left alive in France anyway? What have we got here? Peptide surge. Ooh, enhanced strength. They're going to be even more effective killers. The Philippines have just died. What else is going on? Oh, Zcom destroyed in Norway. Ha! Such is the fate of all who oppose the will of the mighty Jingles. I'm getting too good at this. Countries are falling like dominoes. Can we make things even worse for the survivors? I'm sure we can. What's nasty? Acidic reflux. Oh, yeah, we're going to have some of that. While they're chewing on you, their saliva is burning you away from the inside. And how are we doing? Oh, there we go. Pax 14 has destroyed humanity. Everybody on the planet is either dead or looking for somebody to eat. So, that's nice. Fantastic. Achievement unlocked. Zombie victory. Hooray. So that's how I wiped out humanity, making space in the world for the gnome master race, using the Necrovirus zombie plague. In plaguing, you do need the creationist and catalytic switch genetic markers, and it does take a very, very long time. But this strategy is 100% effective, and it's so much fun crushing Norway with zombie hordes numbering in the millions. That's it for now, folks. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.